give me a second. Alright. Alright, important question, Alex.
Yes.
How'd you ever struggle with this?
Dog, I don't know. My fingies aren't quite accomplished as much as you are.
Anyway, this should be all good. Let me just grab this. Make it go. There you go. Do your thing.
Yeah. Time to go. Now that we're finished confronting domestic abuse perpetrators and survivors. Ugh. Let's continue from our previous adventure. I still don't know what the clouded kokoro is, what it could be referring to.
We literally have done nothing so far.
I know. Cat.
Yes.
Back to the present. Oh, we didn't even make it to the prison.
Hold on a second.
Holding.
I mean, like,
Occasionally this thing just messes up. You don't know until you start streaming. Oh. Sorry.
alright, time for this to get very loud for a hot second. I don't know any other way of doing this. So I just doing the device. Okay, now I drop this down to like there. Nope, not this. This here, and now we should be good.
Alright, we'll check if that should be good. Yes, I know, it's hella carry. Oh, yep. I don't know why. Sometimes I just need to reset the thing. And it's stupid. Looks like something's going on over there next to Mr. Garadeb's house.
Also, you probably want to pull back up the.
I can see it in the top left corner. And I was like, who the fuck is this? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking nimny-pimney? That really feels like it should be a slur or something.
Speaking of, have you heard about all the funny names used to give golf clubs?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I thought this was going to be the thing, like, the nicknames that people used to have for their dicks.
I don't know that. Why do you know that?
I found a Tumblr post about it.
I found a Tumblr post about the funny things we used to name golf clubs before then. Someone just goes, oh, look, I found 7 new slurs for British people.
Yeah. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your... If this turns out to be fucking Shakespeare, I'm going to lose it. Who's this Horatio fellow? What are you on about?
Groaks.
True. Excuse me. What the... Who are you now? Sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Yamasuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English. Tisk. Fine, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Yo, I don't know what this, like, dab is he's striking.
Power stance.
True. Get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
Yes.
If this turns out to be Shakespeare, I'm going to lose my shit. Hello, Jen.
No, this isn't Shakespeare. This is Shakespeare.
Yeah, it could be. Gakespeare. I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than there are dreamt in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. I don't know, he's quoting Shakespeare. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but, are you a lodger here in the Garadeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garadeb did mention he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah yes, a gentleman named Natsume? Oh, more worthy a polemist of my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, a battle did you say? Who is stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so, good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. And he's gone. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Gyaradev house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get there before the prison visiting hours are over.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, there he is. I like as that is typing out, he's still like fidgeting relentlessly.
Let the man fidget.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nipponese. I forgot about this. Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, God.
Hi,
It is
Shoals.
through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Soseki's literally having a mental breakdown here, and Sholmes is just like, fuck it, we vibe. Oh, yes, it's you. The miserable, rotten spy, Hairlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that roomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodations here are off for a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Ah, yo! How dare you, Hairlock Sholmes? Ugh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should have never come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life has been damned. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. Excuse me? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed, for tomorrow's trial. But what is that supposed to mean? Oh no. Cursed trial. Mr. Natsume, what do you mean by what you said now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh, no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
So 16, I didn't count.
I didn't actually count either. Oh.
Okay, well that answers that question.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. Begilded. What? I'm impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that, having failed to have the accused convicted. Lord Van Zykes killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Excuse me? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Of course he is? Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
Oh boy.
What on earth do you mean by that? Alright, tell me about the Reaper. Van Zykes is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that's good. Sasaki-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in the British criminal trial there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It's an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. I mean, this one not really, but...
In theory.
Yes.
Okay.
However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. Finding means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. And if it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, from time to time, my dear madam, it's simply the reality of the situation. Damn, I think this is the first time I've ever had to deal with, like, corruptions in the court. This is a precedent for Ace Attorney games. Good job. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zykes cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my.
Hooray, corruption. I mean,
Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom within months, they all disappear. It is most striking. Excuse me. Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they're suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed. Yeah, you know what? I'm starting to believe that.
that's fine.
Cursed lodgings. When you said a cursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrett's house, I presume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to the room on Briar Road a week ago. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. I mean, the room really is cursed, then? Ever since I moved to that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued by nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits.
Okay.
If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really, no one at all? To believe. Yep, to believe. To believe. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. Ah, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed me and listened to my side of the story. You helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is why. Why did you believe me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? I mean, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What do you mean? I make up my own mind about what's to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is the final analysis, down to oneself. It's a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself.
Can you trust yourself, Alex?
Dog, I don't know. Something imposter syndrome, something sus. School district pulls To Kill a Mockingbird from reading list, quote, makes people uncomfortable.
Yes, that's the whole point. That's
What the
years ago.
Yeah, I know. It Ashley just sent it to me. Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
If you're paying.
Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime, and it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire, I'll fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Re-witnessing domestic. Miss Susato, yes. Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. I should hope so, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to start looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Sholmes believes in me too. So now it's time that I'd like to believe in myself. Sasaki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight in his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. To be continued. Alright, thanks for showing up to the stream, guys. I'll see you next week. And this is where I fake out and just like turn off the stream and then start it up again. February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Well, never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We're on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. Or to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it might as well be his or her one and only time in court. It could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, well, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning! Oh, his eyes are pink.
What?
His eyes.
What are you on? They're gray.
It looks like he hasn't slept.
He's always looked like that.
Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
Alex, they look exactly the same as us.
No, they don't. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Eat the worm, bro. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I can feel tremors before. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, yes? Caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. Looked like the opening night of the opera, and there were so many people. No idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? I'm sorry, I have no idea. So the all-knowing look on your face is just a coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Is that right, Miss Susato?
Probably.
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zykes is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, until the day before yesterday. Yeah, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zykes' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. Trial magnificent. Oh, what a harrowing experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having just arrived. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking. They're all speculating various answers. Mundane? Mundane? This is the most significant saga of the century to some of us. Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that's how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that I could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. There's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you. Ah, shit, you're not wrong. Both times it's you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true, I'm just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight in your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you. Oh, benevolent locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, please stop using this stupid title.
You have to read it out every single time.
I'm reading everything aloud. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we'll always be on your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom.
Hi, that's me.
What?
Just Mr. Natsume. Hi, that's me.
Alright, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. My second trial against the Reaper. Hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time I won't let my faith waver. I believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. February, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey. Court. Oh, we got a new group of people. Oh shit, do you see who's the leftmost one on the bench here? 1 second.
No, I got like 1 second.
It looks like it's that fucking banker from the previous case, the witness. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? The word Strongheart has told me all about you. That you're a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try and help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
And then burned alive.
Oh boy, he's got another glass.
How many this time? Place
Very
your
true.
bets.
And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Hastily acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah, that looks like him.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? Yep, that's fair play again.
Maybe this person looks exactly like him.
He mentions fair play in his intro speech. That's his name, it's Bruce Fairplay. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather ruthless, more ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get.
Just thought the
I'm a
hat guy as
peace-loving
well.
fellow. It kind of does look similar.
So that's why I'm like, I'm not sure.
Oh shit. Just realized it's the fucking maid.
I guess he's the next one.
I'm afraid to say I think it's possible that the mustache foreigner did the deed.
Oh no, that's not.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Oh, we went from grandma to grandpa. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zykes. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. And he already threw the glass.
We are how
Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime, I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry? Didn't quite catch that. Thanks, Grandpa.
Is Grandpa gonna come in clutch
Right.
just because he can't hear anything?
Forgive me the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in the Great Chamber. Allow me to call my first witness to the stand. I love how I don't get an opening statement. Never do.
No.
Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Oh, hey. He's still got fish and chips.
Hell yeah.
Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector? Thought to be? Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What kind of knife?
What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? Comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be for murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. Oh, that was the other piece of evidence that we got. Not that it helped us, but as I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. Happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated at one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The courtroom will now accept the documents as evidence, if you please. Okay.
Cool. Time to figure out
What of the weapon that was used?
It's a knife.
Sir, I have it here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. Wow, the London knife crimes have not stopped since that day. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even though the scragged looking is a second son, I suppose. Huh, a common or guarded jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts this blade as evidence. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some sort of deep-seated resentment towards the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from a visit in second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
Raise his hand. If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that? In a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way?
Objection!
I mean, he's speaking facts.
He tossed the bottle down.
Oh, the entire bottle?
He just went, yeet! 2 fingers over the shoulder. Pray the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed there. Excuse me? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Okay, before we do this.
What do we need to know?
Details. Young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim, olive green, female, stout build, early 20s. Location, pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer, Rolly Beat. Additional notes. Victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from a single stab wound from the large knife, no other sign of injury was observed. Assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. The tip of the knife is missing.
I was wondering, say the absolute lack of blood.
Yeah, that's fair. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
Yeah, there's no blood on the murder weapon as well.
Yeah. Let me see if he says anything about the blade. Oh, no, that's just to close it up. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else to be gleaned from this.
It's a knife.
Shut up. I was hoping that maybe there would be like a speck of blood or something that I missed. explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. Alright, let's get this underway.
Witness testimony.
Mr. Natsume's arrest. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred. There was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else around but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed into the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on the way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. Fair enough.
Didn't she also go to get books?
Yes.
Couldn't it easily have just been her books?
He did have a receipt that had his name on it.
They have the the police have it? Or
I know we have it.
I was going to say, I know we have it. But just because they both go to the same bookstore.
I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime taken immediately after the incident. Oof. Yes, I can clearly see the books to which you were referring. I'll take the photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. Your Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat, denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well,
Overwhelming evidence.
forgive Lord Van Zykes. Forgive me, Lord Van Zykes, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato? Do go on. Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that you mention it. When we visited him in prison yesterday, he did tell us what happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another beside me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she so suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. Right, everything's accursed with him. A green overcoat? Well, that's exactly what the woman in the print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit that he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else at the time. Just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there's nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Alright. Hold it.
It's going to be hold it 5
it.
times. Yep.
Hold it.
Now you've learned how the Ace Attorney games function. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog.
Fog? Hold it.
Light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much further, though. That's light, is it? Around these parts, yes. Not something I expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know.
And that's actually kind of fair.
I've read that that London is famous for its fog, but in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. This is how quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of the year, the fog can cause a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling. We should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Okay. The visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else around but the victim and the accused.
Hold it!
How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that's what the witnesses to the crime have told us. Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he?
Bring in those witnesses.
That's right, one of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. Then we must hear their testimony. Prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute. 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter. It would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Ah. Prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Quite, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, we'll be able to.
I get foggy.
It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind, subsequently collapsed on the pavement.
Hold it!
From behind, you say?
Yes,
That's right, as you can see from this print.
I can't exactly hold that one.
She really did fall in the, like, fucking Family Guy pose. Yes, quite so, Inspector. They handled the weapons clearly protruding from the victim's back. I also like how somebody's first thought was, snap a crime, then take her to the hospital. As you say, this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition, comatose no less, yes.
Having a picture takes like 2 seconds. Also, it is necessary to solve the crime.
My lord, yes, I'm afraid so. She's being treated in Bart's. St. Bart's, that's still around today. I was hoping she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. We're gonna have an updated witness statement.
Updated witness testimony.
Yeah. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undetermined. Undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid.
I mean, he does have us there.
Accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings. I think you'll find it's all there in the photograph print of the crime scene. Yes, 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were, irreparably damaged after falling into the snow, of course.
So I don't even know which books they are? Like,
Well, I imagine they mean the contents.
Listen, you don't say irreparably unless you're like...
Yeah, the accused could have easily carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. Just, you could, like, do, like, you know, put him like this, in the crook of your arm. It made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there. I mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Those being a number of old books you just bought. He was on his way home from bookshops.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. Shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room is stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must. I have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Closest secondhand bookshop to the accused lodgings is here, Bourbon Books. Full place in the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street.
Was that the same place?
That's what I was thinking. Your books. Which means that it doesn't take a genius to work out the route you would have taken home. Something like this.
This is the closest one, yes, but is this the one?
He would have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from the particular shop. Yes, I understand that, Susato. I just had to get the testimony. Bookshops, neat. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe? Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes, it could be very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it all being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could he be any more sardonic? Basically sarcastic. Present him with the book receipt.
Objection!
Objection. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. Well, this is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, and the details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. The receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Y-O-R-E, I presume? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books on a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question did not purchase books. What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But the fact is that, but in fact that is the bookshop in which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased this musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree.
Ignores all
I
the
mean,
evidence.
after all, street map here. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. The defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books. Then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account that he was actually at a different bookshop than Your Books, it may very well turn out he wouldn't have passed the location at all. My, it really depends on where this other bookshop is, but I declare it may be a possibility. Huh, is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir, what you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Inspector Gregson, where is Your Books? Well, obviously we looked into that. Watch, it's gonna be right next door.
So it's not guaranteed. He's a cook down Calabash.
Yeah.
It's
And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh.
so he just could have taken that.
My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed to spell it out here, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon, there's no doubt he would have passed the place when the victim was still stabbed.
Why is everybody just ignoring the other road?
Thank you, Inspector. I swear to God, if he just eats this again, allow me to reiterate for my learned if somewhat slow Nipponese friend. 2 glasses and 1 bottle down. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in
We're
the
like
final
10 minutes into the actual case.
Yeah, pretty much. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What did I say? I have had enough of this now. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Grandpa's gonna say that just because I cannot hear what.
Mr. Naruhodo mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I must consider the assertion. They claim Saseki-san must have passed the location away from Your Books, but... I mean, I gotta. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on the map. When returning to your books from his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what's commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well,
A few longer.
the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings, and the obvious perpetrator of the crime.
Objection!
But, aha, yes, I got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection.
Of course, yes.
That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. God damn it, Natsume. I don't. I don't like this.
That's not making it easy.
I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what say your insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... Hold it. Susato? Ah, fuck. I agree with Lord Van Zykes, wholeheartedly, and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean we members of the jury are completely convinced now?
Well, time to go pit them against each other.
Time to do summary execution. Yeah. Very well. Present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
They all had voice lines for guilty. Well,
I hope that's not always 2 minutes into the thing, everybody votes guilty, we persuade them otherwise. This is now the second
are
case.
you gonna yeet another one? To the insightful
No,
members of the
kidding.
jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You served the Queen and country admirably. At this time, would the Queen be the Queen?
What do you mean?
Didn't England have kings over the course of its history?
Kings and queens, yes.
Yeah, I just was curious. I mean, they never specified a time period, but we have to figure it's around the era of the Industrial Revolution because we have steamships. They made a treaty of friendship with Japan. Are those eyes of Quarry not yet willing to give up and die? So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of the defense written into the antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it an antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncas refusal to throw in his alley. Dog, they're throwing some antiquated slang. Alright, judicial findings. The juror's contentions. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? He said a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why he could have only been a victim. The man would have gone around the houses in which way from the back from the bookshop, not in the winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. Huh. Your books, yes. Nice shot, that. But bourbon books? Huh. No, not worth a visit.
Okay, so Japan and England had their first formal alliance in 1902.
Okay.
During that time, was King Edward VII, although Queen Alexandra was quite involved in politics at that point. So it's
technically it's
the king was the ruler, but the queen did do a lot during that time.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused.
Also, definitely past Industrial Revolution, because that was like 1780, and their treaty was in 1902.
That's fair. By the way, I don't think I actually inspected the crime scene photograph.
So Jesus, rip Edward VII, the king during this time. A whole 9 years he was king.
Oof.
That's not good for king.
Oh dear, even the judge seems convinced of Nazi May's guilt. Why did he have to run him like that? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that no one could see? This is impossible. How could I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, this is not the time for grumbling. Yes, I know, I have to turn the tide. Make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no more choice but to forge forward. Have the floor council begin your summation examination. Yes, my lord. Just need to keep the trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, you can do it.
Hold it!
Time to press all of them, too. Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry? Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that old hatter pegged as criminals. Oh well, you know, water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around. The police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back the clock... Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history. I have to wonder what's become of Mr. First now. Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, that is. You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green undercoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim. Clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. Let us not forget, madam, that the defendant vehemently denies attacking her. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie as you're suggesting, don't you think he would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it.
Hell yeah, racism.
I do declare this man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was no one else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime. If no one else could have done it, then the accused must be the man. Really couldn't be more simple. Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh my, you're too kind, my lord. That went well for her. That man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way, not momentary.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Nelson could have taken. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Damn, I'm getting fucking roasted by the witness. Yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went to a long Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I'd given it a lot of thought, you know. I just didn't make up my mind on a whim when he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road, it would be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would.
That's honestly fair.
That's a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion with that one. Thanks. I don't think I have anything in court record that would support that at the moment.
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garrett, aren't you? The landlord who runs Mr. Natsume's room? Master's wife? Where did you get this idea, sir? I'm the maid you understand. She's keeping up that charade. This is going to be awkward. Why don't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury to trial. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right, although he's only been living with her a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit such a crime as this? That is a very loaded question. Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort. But spending all the time in that dark, dingy room, sporting an unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear. He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting his maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. By the way, I just love... The number one rule when you're actually, like, trying to be a lawyer or make any sort of logical defense is never ask questions you don't already know the answer to.
Hold it!
Man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but laborers like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late, the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. And there's cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's hard slog from dawn till dusk it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop.
Something happened, that's why I took the other path.
Yep. That's right. Meersham Street it was. Meersham Street. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. And the point of that, can't we just get this business over with? Please, sir. It's important. Fine, I'll do it then. Well, now we know who to pit. So, just to confirm. So, somewhere in here he was digging it up, which means he would have gone back through Calabash over to Natsume's office. Well, let's see what Grandpa has to say.
Grandpa.
Hold it!
Sorry? Fold it, you say? Fold what? No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. Oh, really? What time did you visit your books in the day in question? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon. I would have been there just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time? Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash when I slipped on some ice and dumped my head. It's all the worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's the most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. And I really thought my number was up. Green coat, knocked unconscious. This happened on Calabash Road. That's correct. Live in Cornpike, you see. Heading down Calabash is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you have that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Huh? Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now. Grandpa.
Grandpa, please, you gotta throw the case.
I don't care if you've been hearing about the Kate Middle conspiracy, but things have been going down with this new deepfake photo. I've been embroiled with it today. As the juror witness, yes, officially, I am making the jurors witnesses.
Two of the jurors just became witnesses.
Yep.
This is not what I was expecting. I was not expecting Alice for the jurors to have the witnesses. What happens if a juror becomes a witness?
I believe that they are disqualified, so when they pick out a jury trial, in case you don't actually know, they have a set of 2 or 3 backup jurors. In case one of them gets compromised, they can swap them out on the fly without having to redo the trial.
I just don't know if that was a thing back then.
Oh, I have no idea. Alright, so we're gonna pit juror number 3 against juror number 5.
Objection!
The 2 statements are odds with one another. At odds, counsel, explain yourself. Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. What? I just want this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited your books to purchase a number of second-hand books. On that same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meersham Street, making it impassable, which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meersham Street and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? Must have had a good 2 yards or more of pavement out. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion to this is that the defendant must have taken a longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that might be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But, we see now that he had no choice. Yes. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may? Yes. I don't think in all good conscience that I can say that the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see the trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. I like juror number 3. He seems reasonable.
It doesn't make sense. Here's some evidence that shows otherwise.
What about you,
Alright
sir?
then, let's keep going.
Who, me? Huh. Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Can I just say, I don't know what kind of pyrotechnic setup they have, but I'm loving it. Well done. That was wonderful. Okay. Strengthen our position. Now, if only we could just identify 1 or 2 more clues. Oh, trust me, we know. That's why we pressed Grandpa.
I mean, that's not why we pressed Grandpa. That does really help. We pressed it because we pressed everyone.
Yes. But you press everyone because they might give you information or evidence that we didn't have previously. Alright. Okay. Bam. Grandpa. Bam.
Objection!
Those 2 statements show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. Flaw? What are you talking about? Well, the juror number 2. Juror number 6. My, whatever you mean, sir. I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. Then he returned home on foot. The man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But he does remember seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we're all well aware of this. The poor young woman was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Objection. Can we really be sure of that, madam? Mine, whatever you mean. I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets of the neighborhood. Oh my. My goodness, you mean. That's right. I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes is the jolly old gentleman at the end of the bench here with me today? It is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Oh, look at that. My goodness. Huh? Sorry? You need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapse in front of him was in fact juror number 6, means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my. You idiot old man, if you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, I would have boxed this off hours ago.
How
Really? Whatever were you thinking, wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk these streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it? Hold it. My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but you'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well,
first it's hard of hearing, and then is it a crime? This is just his thing. Hard of hearing, and is it a crime?
okay, I know a lot of people had beef with the jury mechanic that pads out the trials. I kind of like the interactions.
I am very confused about jury turned witness, but yes.
Yeah.
But I do like the whole, oh, you're saying this, so clearly something is wrong with, like, the stabbing and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is...
Oh, he's objecting to the trial. Oh. Yeet.
Crush.
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust? Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Sykes. It seems I must retract my earlier remark. Oh, what do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer.
We literally have proof.
Whatever you mean.
Objection!
Objection. I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 is undoubtedly repairing the road as claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of pavement which you had excavated, sir? That's right, it took me a whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Jesus Christ. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? 6 feet? Well, less than 2 meters. That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor.
Now he is
Would you not agree,
stretching
my
that.
stalwart friend? Eh, me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
He literally said that he
What?
turned everyone away that day.
Did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? Eh, wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway. We would have just had any gentlefolk back as they can. Kids jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Jump a 6-foot horizontal? I mean, I probably could, but, like, I'm also not the skittish bookworm that looks like he's haunted by ghosts.
So he's saying we're all stupid for saying, hey, there's construction, so the person took the other way. And he's going, no, clearly you're stupid. The man just did a 6-foot vault.
Yeah.
While holding 3 books. Didn't
Yes,
drop them
and
then.
a knife.
Didn't drop them then, but like after he stabbed the woman, that's when he
Yes.
dropped the books. Also, once again, Lord Van Sykes not really presenting anything besides just calling us an idiot. And now calling the jury an idiot.
And old man. Cold man, you can talk. You can say that around 5 o'clock in the day in question, you slipped and fell unconscious. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say as I remember. You don't remember.
He slipped and fell.
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that you saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
This man just made the most wild claims and says that we are doing bad.
Order. Lord Van Sykes, explain yourself. My lord? If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? Huh. I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. Yo, Zykes, I got a guinea for Magnus McGilden. I will bet you that 1,000 to 1. Pay up, bitch. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel.
I'll be back. You have fun with this.
He threw away his cloak. We're getting serious now.
This man keeps on talking about how much of an idiot you are, but every single time we seem to prove him wrong. Is it just racism, or is this man
My lord.
dumb?
Prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand.
Now we get to see
Yeah,
that.
I know, right? Granted, bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
They always look fancy.
We've been told on several occasions there were eyewitnesses to the incident, one of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
I just want to see the fancy design.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Constable Royally Beat. Nothing to report on the street, staff. And I'm Miss Beat. Patricia's my name, and I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean, lighting, extinguishing our streetlights. Number of the items on that list that I don't sound much like policing duties at all. Wouldn't be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that the policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby, he's a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction. They witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat? That's right, sir. Isn't that Rolly? Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. What a great witness he's going to be. They do kind of look like siblings. I mean, we're in Britain, not Alabama, so it's less likely, but I can't deny that. Yeah. Yes, sir. I have to appreciate the name puns that they continue with this game. It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It's definitely that Japanese man on the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day. They married their first cousins in Britain. It's more Alabama than Alabama. I mean, you're not wrong. Oh dear. This policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. Their testimony is true. The alternative course of events you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death now, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate bechancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds hard indeed. Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man before fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Sasaki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less, so you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say. You also a member of the policeman's beat? Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Broly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. Suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? Huh? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, really, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you'd finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir, yes. Although, I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm a proud owner of this, I serve my city and my queen to the end. What is that now? My warrant card, sir. Birth Maroon in copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, and a reminder of all policemen to our sworn duty. Patrol the streets of London town and hold up the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without failing, without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it, then. But, sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss B puts up with a lot being married to a Bobby all the time, and I wanted to share my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. A little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happens next. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes. That's right, they were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. Nobody else was around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Huh? What? Oh, yes, that's right. Of course. There was a light in the fog on the ground. The prior road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long distance way down the pavement. Then there was a street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you saw? Yes, sir. As a cop who spends all day every day keeping watch of the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. They're still maintaining that there was no one else other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor and the other scattered something before running off.
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then when we got closer, we realized that it was... Huh? What? Yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see. Old books. Yes, sir, the culprit had dropped a number of them around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese man did it when he did the deed.
Hold it!
Hold it. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Everything. Any more insults you want to throw in? That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman in those terrifying intense eyes, and suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. I see. May I remind the court that this is unambiguous testimony, comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue. Yes, sir. Dude, this man is me every time I wake up in the morning. Ran straight over, of course, and went for help in a nearby police box. Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? Huh? What? Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. B. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. So I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where a woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat, so I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know. And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens. Oh please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Well, let's move on, shall we? Meet Rolly Beat and Patricia Beat. Royally beat, as in, like, thoroughly exhausted. He's constantly asleep on the seat. Patricia, I don't have a pun for.
I was wondering
Hold it!
if it would beat like a beat cop.
That probably is also it. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you? We absolutely could, as Londoners have exceptional eyesight, you know.
No, I don't.
Right. The light from the street lamps was more than enough. My husband already told you the fog was only light, didn't he? Hey, yes, and what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe, but it's an absolute menace to those of us that have to live with it, of course. Oh, it is. It is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
As we've heard.
Yes. Alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
Just let the man sleep.
Huh? What? Yes. It was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Saseki-san. I saw running away from the scene of the crime. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't exactly have any holes. What do you think? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they saw. Mr. not seen me running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yeah, I feel the same. So if it's true, where does that leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. I don't know. If Kaiserslautern were here... Oh boy. I think he would try and find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. Somewhere else. Their statements about seeing Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question would help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them. Oh, right. I was focused on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere.
You know, the other part.
Alright. Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. What is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Isn't that right, is it? Well, out with it. What? No. No, it's not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything, like... Oh, I know. What about the books that man dropped? I can tell you the names of every single one. There we go. Do you dare to question how reliable my testimony is? That will do, Miss Pete. No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute rolling them. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fists down.
That's a statement I didn't think I'd be hearing.
Yeah, same here. Might that appease you? Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? Yes, please do.
Hold it!
Wait, 4.
4. Those purchased by the accused in the nearby second-hand bookshop. Alright, well, I decided to have a good look over the area for myself. I'm a proud policeman's wife. I did it for Rolly. And what was your husband doing at the time?
Sleeping.
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling? Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Yes, he previously stated that he sent her off to the nearby police box to report it, while he guarded the scene. Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you've regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene? Be happy to. Now, are you all listening? Man, put your man's hands down. Thank you, Jen. Picture of Monsieur somebody or other. What's its yearnings? Then there was a meal for someone. And the last one was definitely the thingamagummy something. Picture of Monsieur Lecoq. Meal for Gabriel Canterbury yearnings. You see? He just hella sleep deprived. Boy, yes. See 1 or 2 holes in your memory. Oh well, they were all along those lines, I'm quite sure. There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it. Yes, well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Anyone who upset by Patricia will have me to answer to. Jesus Christ, Rolly, calm down.
Oh, now you're just allowed to bring a gun in here. I thought a knife was a bit much.
Terrifying. Yes, she really is. Yes, yes, shut up. I know exactly what's happening.
There's no way to skip dialogue while you're out.
No. Okay, present.
Either that or the picture.
Yeah. So you're saying that there were 4 books? That's right, I remember all of them. Picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and the Thingamagummy Something. I'm sorry, Miss Beat. But there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no, what flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were 3 books, not 4. What? Here's the receipt for the bookshop where the defendant bought his books. Your books? Can't get over the child bride look she has. Yeah. I mean, it was a different time. If we were assuming that Trevor's estimation of time is correct. The early 1900s were much more
1902.
child brides, yeah.
Doesn't make it acceptable, but, you know.
I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you. 4 dirty old books. Oh, really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books. But I just don't believe it.
Okay.
I
Don't call
saw
fake
them there.
news.
I swear it. I saw them.
Fake news.
No, madam, I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon. Okay. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No! Oh, they are tied at the waist via
Objection!
the, Scarves.
Yes, fancy.
Yep. It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend.
Literally what
What?
now?
What cannot be
Literally
denied
what
is that
now?
there are 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well that you have no hope of disproving. I mean, he's not wrong. So you've striven to avert the attention from that by the dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? He sees right through me. But your plan is somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast.
You gotta break this one
To
too?
the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. Oh? You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene of the Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
We literally have a picture
But what about the photographic print?
and the receipt.
Only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. You mean to say... 2 chalices smashed, 2 chalices yeeted, 1 bottle thrown into the public gallery. This man is a menace. The Lion's Pride. I recognize that book title. Do you?
No.
It's the favorite book of Mr. Abuse Victim.
Oh, abuse victim. Also,
And it's
Martin,
it's burnt.
That's great. It's also might be in his hand. It also isn't related to any of the names that she said, I think.
I don't
it
think
was
so.
one of the names either. And it still doesn't match up with the receipt we have.
Yeah.
So basically,
I was going to mention that, like, they stated that she was also a student who frequented the bookshops. So, like, those books could have just been her own. There, you see? You see? Look at that. Look. Yes. Just like I said. Isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased and the accused and the day in question. Miss Beat, the titles once again, if you would please. Oh yes, of course. The pictures of Monsieur somebody or other. The picture of Monsieur Lecoq. What's It Yearnings? Canterbury Yearnings. A Meal for Someone. A Meal for Gaboreau. And the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Miss Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. Did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Miss Beat mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the fourth book, that which is shown, is in the photographic print. Sorry, Counsel, but that does not seem odd. Why would the fourth book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. Yep. I wonder what became of that fourth book. Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. It's remarkably intact. I submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please.
Cool things. We should have had these things earlier.
My pleasure, my lord. I watched somebody who was playing through the original Phoenix Wright games as an actual lawyer, and Edgeworth hits him with the updated autopsy report, and he just goes, "What kind of fucking kangaroo court is this? This would never be allowed. This is super unprofessional." And he just like went on like a 5-minute rant about Edgeworth pulling this shit, and everybody's like, "Oh boy, settle it, man."
Get used to it.
Prosecution rests. All right, let's take a look at these books and the print. Okay, it's just. Where's her eye? Lion's Pride. Ooh.
I thought you were gonna, investigate the giant hole.
I was. Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt. You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the latter pages. A book recently damaged by fire? Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Yeah, he stated it was his favorite book that got burnt in the fire that his abusive wife caused.
Did they open the window?
Yeah, I think they did.
I might have just poked my just out the window.
And she picked it up because she likes books.
Or just because, why was there a random, book thrown?
Why is it on fire?
Hey, Alex, pick one. I have a lot of variety here.
Choose the odd one out. Oh, it's her. Leg yarn. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile. I walked right into this, didn't I? You see, everything they said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat.
They aren't married?
They are married. They have been married for more than a year. So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider the positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we're in a terribly precarious position. I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think Ryanosuke, what do you do now? Raise an objection. We always raise the objection. I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say. Thanks, Susato.
Where would we be without you?
If I may, Lord Van Zykes, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed.
So much racism.
For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this. Oh. First of all, objection to you being rude to Susato. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me. But I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. Yeah, stick up for Susato. Wait. One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Miss Susato, please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? And what have you all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finish. I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you? Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? Of course. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence.
We did. We're one step ahead of you.
Susato has managed to win us one last chance here. Can't let it go to waste.
Seriously, where have you been with that?
The probably still upright more often than not, but otherwise bad.
Answer is we'd be in jail/dead because.
Sure. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and is hitherto unlocked. The fourth
Take
book.
that!
The evidence in question is that what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
I love that I get like the classic Ace Attorney objection. He gets one that's all fancy and British.
Yeah.
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of court's time, and as you well know. Huh. Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's, yeah. So, counsel, precisely where is the vital clue to this case? Oop. Nope, nope.
Oh my god. I'll use both of your hands.
Boom. Boom.
Got it!
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. Back? What do you... Oh, gracious. It's been burnt to a crisp. So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching this what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Objection. Unnatural, you say. And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh. Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing more to discuss. So you wish to assert that this fire damage is some sort of veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? Alright, I'll explain my theory. Don't keep us waiting any longer then, counsel. Explain. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from this fire damage the storyteller has suffered? Its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner. Beg your pardon? But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. It's obviously hers. Her husband's definitely got brain damage at this point. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers. Good gracious, how can you possibly? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book? But let's clear it. The answer is, the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garridev. The landlords? And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty is in the courtroom this day. Is no other than Miss Garridev herself. Damn, we had to out her. Oh my goodness me. I think you must be mistaken, sir. I am not Mr. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid. Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house? I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hardworking member of the public? You just merge her without a shred of evidence? Your actions are
We're
unforgivable.
not like telling her that she, you know. What?
No. This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mr. Garrideb's house. Good lord, what sort of incident? A fire, my lord. Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. Bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it, I lost my favorite, a book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? By Jove, the same title as the subject on the bait. Oh dear.
Objection!
This is risible. All you've told the court is that the book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was a marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently she continued to attack Mr. Garrideb, even amid the flames. Oh, how awful. I can't even imagine being so hard to the one you love. Can you, Rolly? Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir. That wasn't the question, but okay.
Why did you immediately go to that, sir?
I had all my favorite novels in that old case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. And the wife started hurling things at me. There I was, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him? Goodness gracious, are you suggesting the book was thrown through the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
I mean, that is a big conjecture, but no, the thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted by the very evening of the incident. There was no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb household. But it is not conceivable that the window was open at the time, and not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the winter. Kinda got a point there. Do you earnestly claim the book found at the scene of a crime was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrideb's wife? I believe it's a possibility, my lord. Are we gonna call Garrideb to the scene? That's quite enough. It's gonna be the juror. Yep, there it is. Well, I hope that everyone can see for what you are, foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward, a mean coward. Really? Claiming that our little tiff set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Lying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake, how could you? It has nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name. No, I assure you that was never my intention. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. She took a swing at the juror next to her. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable. Too right. Here we go. How long have we sat here now, listening to this nippany spouting out his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache, and he ran away from the scene too. I do declare you're right. I mean, it's true. Yes, what did I tell you? Makes sense to me. Huh? Sorry? Oh, what's that?
Hold the line, juror number 6.
Hold the line, Grandpa. It would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zykes? Okay, what do you think? Smash or throne?
I think it was just for crush.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. In truth, my lord, I feel that these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No, wait. The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Oh! Boot. If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time.
God, I hate Sykes, because he doesn't actually say anything besides just, listen, you're just an idiot.
What, no forgive the discourtesy this time? Damn. We now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Time for another summation examination.
Guilty.
I hope.
Guilty.
Grandpa, no.
Well, it's been really fun. I guess that's the end of the case.
Thank you for that unambiguous response. That's twice now. It's over. Don't give up. Miss Usato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting... Of course, the defense has the right to another submission examination.
Let's go
You
again.
can still convince the
Let's go
jurors.
again.
My lord, the defense asked to exercise its right to a summation examination. Huh. You believe you still have the tricks up your sleeve? I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth.
The truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh. Conveniently, I think that's the end of the case. And by that I mean the section of the case.
So I was like, wait.
Well, I mean, that's also convenient because it's 10:57.
That is fair.
This has been a time.
You can say that again.
This
But
has
don't.
been a... No. So, Summation Examination 2. Electric Boogaloo. This time with Mr. Garrideb's wife on the stand. And Grandpa no longer being the ally that I thought he was, even if he's just a little deaf. Also, there's gotta be some sort of thing about conflict of interest back in the day, you know?
You would think so.
People be cray-cray. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. We're at the end of the stream.
Then you just end the stream.
Oh, I don't know if
You're
you
just
like...
kind of sitting here.
Dog, I was trying to think of something to say, but I don't really have anything.
Then you just...
Okay, well then we're going to end the stream there because I ran out of things to say and I don't want to waste 2 minutes. So,
It's not going to be the end of the world if we end 2 minutes early.
I just want to make sure, okay? Gosh, I'm not a streamer. I don't know if you gotta be, like, consistent. Anyway, have a nice day, everyone. Have a nice day, Trevor. Enjoy yourself. Bye.